The forbidden knowledge, the chamber of the Galactic Council, was quiet. Thousands of voices had argued for hours, but now only silence remained. The air was heavy, as if the walls themselves were waiting for what was about to happen. In the center of the chamber, a great stone box stood. It was older than the Council, older than the oldest empire that still existed. The stone had no cracks, no marks of time, and yet no one had been able to open it for generations. That day, it had opened on its own. Inside lay a scroll. The letters burned faintly as if they were alive. No machine could read them, no scanner could explain them, but one old translator, half blind and trembling, whispered that he understood. He said the letters were simple, but they carried weight. They carried a name, the name of Earth. At first, the Council laughed. Earth was a small planet. Its people were young, weak, and divided. They had no great fleets, no mighty armies. To most of the galaxy, Earth was nothing more than a curiosity. The humans had spirit, yes, but they were not feared. The Council could not believe that a forgotten box in a forgotten ruin held a secret about such a place. But when the old translator spoke the name aloud, everything changed. The sound of the name was soft, almost gentle. It was only a word, yet the word echoed across the chamber as if the walls carried it further than they should. The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably. Some pressed their hands over their ears. Others felt their hearts beat faster. One fell to the floor, clutching his chest. Something invisible had moved through the air. The stars outside the station flickered for a moment, dimming as if afraid. The Council guards looked at one another, unsure of what they had felt. The translator fell silent, his eyes wide. That, he whispered, is Earth's true name. No one dared to speak for a long time. Finally, the high speaker of the Council, a tall creature with silver skin and 4 eyes, raised his voice. It is only a word, he declared. Words do not change the galaxy. But even as he spoke, he knew it was not true. That night, strange things began to happen. In the far colonies, ships reported sudden failures of their engines, though no faults could be found. On trading worlds, people heard whispers in languages they did not know. In one system, a moon cracked apart without cause. Everywhere, the fear grew. The name had done something. Historians searched the archives. They discovered records of other races that had once risen and vanished long before the Council. In those records, there were warnings. Do not speak the hidden names. Some empires had ignored the warning. None of them had survived. The Council tried to control the information, but rumors spread faster than light. Soldiers in barracks whispered about Earth's hidden power. Merchants in the market said the humans had been hiding something all along. Children on distant planets woke crying in the night, speaking the word without knowing why. And Earth began to change. On the small blue planet, humans felt restless. They could not explain it, but they felt it in their bones. Farmers paused in their fields, sensing that someone far away had spoken their name in a way that had never been spoken before. Soldiers in training camps dreamed of stars trembling above them. Even the old and sick felt a strange strength return to their bodies for a moment. Something had awakened. Back in the Council chamber, fear turned to argument. Some demanded that Earth be destroyed before its secret grew stronger. Others warned that such an attack would only unleash something worse. The High Speaker tried to bring order, but his own voice shook. He could not forget the way the stars dimmed when the name was spoken. A quiet delegate from a small and dying race spoke words that chilled them all. The galaxy has feared the wrong enemy. We built fleets to fight warlords, we built empires to fight each other, but the danger was always Earth. We just never knew its name. The chamber fell silent again. In the shadows, the old translator sat, his face pale. He whispered to himself, repeating Earth's name, but each time he spoke it, he seemed weaker, as if the word was feeding on him. By the end of the night, he was dead, his lips frozen in the shape of the word. The Council covered up his death, but it was too late. Fear spread faster than truth. In the minds of millions, the story was already alive. Earth was no longer a weak world. Earth was a name of power, a name that made stars tremble. And deep in the void where light had never reached, something ancient opened its eyes. The galaxy did not yet understand what it had done, but the moment Earth's true name was spoken, the balance of power had shifted forever. The fear across the stars. The galaxy had lived with many kinds of fear before. Wars had burned across the stars. Empires had risen and fallen. Whole species had been wiped out by plagues or by fire. Yet none of those fears were like this one. Those were fears of armies, of weapons, of things that could be seen and fought. This fear was different. It was a fear of something unseen, something that no one understood. The fear had a name, and the name was Earth. The day after the council session, whispers spread to every corner of the galaxy. In markets, in starports, in military camps, people repeated the story. They said the council had spoken Earth's true name. They said the stars themselves had trembled. No one knew if the rumors were true, but it did not matter. Fear does not wait for proof. In the vast city of Ormala Prime, crowds filled the streets. Merchants closed their shops. Families locked their doors. One man stood in the square shouting that Earth would soon destroy them all. Another shouted that Earth would save them. Fights broke out and the city burned for 3 nights. Across the galaxy, leaders held meetings in secret. Some called for fleets to be prepared. Others demanded the name never be spoken again. A few, the most frightened of all, suggested that Earth itself must be erased before it was too late. But no one could agree on how. Earth was small and weak, yes, but the fear was not small. It was large and it spread faster than ships could travel. Each time someone whispered the true name, something strange happened. In one system, the sky turned red for a full day. In another, a child spoke the word and then never spoke again. A fleet commander dreamed of Earth every night. And one morning he shot himself without explanation. The galaxy began to tremble without a single weapon being fired. In the council, panic turned to anger. Delegates shouted at each other. Some accused the humans of keeping this secret on purpose. Others claimed it was the council's fault for daring to open the stone box. One truth was clear. No one felt safe anymore. And Earth had no idea what was happening. On the blue planet, life continued as normal. Humans went to work, children went to school, soldiers trained in their bases. But deep inside, they felt restless. More and more people reported strange dreams. They dreamed of stars shaking. They dreamed of alien voices begging them for mercy. They dreamed of themselves standing taller, stronger, brighter than they had ever been. Some woke in fear. Others woke in pride. But all felt that something had changed. The alien races who once mocked Earth began to watch it with nervous eyes. Scouts flew near the planet, but many never returned. Ships vanished without trace, as if swallowed by shadows. The council tried to hide these losses, but rumors spread again. People said Earth was protecting itself. People said Earth was waking up. On the frozen world of Selvaris, a scholar uncovered an old record. It spoke of a time before the council, a time when ancient beings walked among the stars. The record said those beings gave certain worlds hidden names. To speak those names was to awaken the worlds. To awaken the worlds was to end empires. The scholar sent her findings to the council, but the message never reached them. Her ship was found drifting, every crew member dead, their faces twisted in fear. The council tried to silence the story, but it was too late. Now the whole galaxy believed the same thing. Earth was not weak. Earth was not small. Earth was something more, something dangerous. Fear grew in every corner. In military barracks, soldiers sharpened their weapons but prayed never to use them against Earth. In trading hubs, merchants stopped selling goods to humans, afraid of angering them. In schools, alien children whispered Earth's name as if it was a curse. And in the dark, old powers stirred, waiting. One night, the council held another secret meeting. The high speaker asked a question that none of them wanted to answer. What if Earth did not ask for this? What if it does not even know? What if the danger is not what Earth has, but what Earth is? No one spoke for a long time. Then one delegate, with eyes like burning glass, whispered, "If that is true, then the galaxy is already lost." Outside, the stars flickered again. The fear was no longer just in the hearts of people. It was in the galaxy itself, as if reality was bending under the weight of Earth's name. And through it all, Earth lived on, unaware of the terror it had become. But deep beneath its oceans, in the cracks of its mountains, and in the silence of its deserts, something began to stir. Something old, something hidden, something waiting for the moment when the galaxy's fear would become truth. The galaxy trembled because of a word. It would soon tremble because of what followed. Earth awakens on Earth, the skies looked the same. The oceans moved as they always had. The cities were loud with work and life. But beneath the surface of normal days, a slow change was spreading. People could not explain it, yet they felt it in their bones. A farmer in a quiet village rose before dawn and walked into his field. He stood there staring at the soil, not knowing why his chest felt heavy. When he touched the ground, he felt warmth as if the earth itself was alive. He pulled back, shaking. The feeling never left him. In another part of the world, a young soldier dreamed of stars trembling. He woke in sweat, his heart racing. But instead of fear, he felt strength. His hands no longer shook when he held his weapon. His voice carried louder when he spoke. His commanders noticed, and they began to whisper that something had changed in him. Across oceans and mountains, these small changes grew. Pain seemed lighter for some. The sick felt moments of strange relief. The old remembered things they should not have known. Maps of stars they had never seen. Songs in languages no human had ever spoken. No one understood why. But Earth was waking. Far above, alien scouts circled the planet. Their reports were confusing. Some said they saw nothing unusual. Others claimed they felt watched the moment they entered Earth's orbit. A few ships disappeared without trace. When replacement fleets searched, they found wreckage twisted in ways that defied reason, as if the ships had been pulled apart by invisible hands. Fear kept growing in the galaxy, but on Earth, curiosity grew. Scientists noticed strange patterns in machines. Radios picked up signals with no source. Satellites turned by themselves, pointing at distant stars. Astronomers discovered new movements in the sky, as if something beyond the visible universe had turned its gaze toward them. Governments tried to explain these events, but their words carried no weight. Ordinary people felt the truth more strongly than any leader's speech. They knew something greater than them had been touched, and it had touched back. In deep caves, explorers heard voices echo where no one stood. On high mountains, climbers saw shapes in the night sky that vanished when stared at directly. In the seas, fishermen pulled up strange creatures, glowing faintly, their eyes unblinking and human-like. And in the dreams of millions, one image returned again and again, a circle of stars bending downward, bowing to a single blue planet. The Council's spies on Earth reported these changes with fear. They begged the Council to act quickly, to silence Earth before the awakening grew stronger. But their messages became shorter, stranger. One spy sent a final report filled with nonsense. The same sentence written over and over. The name is alive. After that, nothing. The Council grew desperate. Fleets were moved closer to Earth's borders, but the commanders argued endlessly. Who would fire first? Who would take the risk of angering whatever Earth was becoming? None wanted to be remembered as the one who doomed the galaxy. Meanwhile, the humans themselves began to notice something deeper. A professor at a small university gave a lecture one morning. In the middle of his speech, his voice changed. He began to speak words no one had ever heard. The students froze, unable to move. When he finished, he collapsed, his heart stopped. The students swore the walls of the room had shaken. In a small town, a child spoke a riddle to her mother. The stars bow, but the earth does not rise. The day will come when it speaks itself. The mother wept, though she did not understand why. The child never spoke again. The world was filling with signs, each one darker than the last. On the other side of the galaxy, some alien races began to worship Earth. They sent prayers into the void, begging for protection. Others built weapons, preparing for war. But none could stop the dread that grew stronger each day. Earth was not fighting. Earth was not asking. Earth was only being itself. And still, the galaxy trembled. In secret, a group of human scientists discovered something alarming. The very gravity of Earth was shifting, changing in small ways. The planet was heavier than it had been a year ago, though no mass had been added. Something unseen was taking root inside the planet, as if its very name had drawn new power into its core. They kept their findings hidden, afraid of panic, but already the people felt it. Earth was no longer simply Earth. It was something older, something that carried weight across the stars. And in the darkness between galaxies, far away from human eyes, ancient shapes stirred. They were not ships, not worlds, but beings of shadow and light. They moved because a name had been spoken. They moved because Earth had awakened. The galaxy had feared Earth's name. Soon it would fear Earth itself. The Council's mistake. The Council had always believed it was the heart of the galaxy. Its fleets guarded the stars, its laws shaped trade and war. For thousands of years, every empire had bent to its will. But after Earth's name was spoken, that power no longer felt solid. The council was now a circle of frightened voices, hiding their fear behind arguments. They met again in the same dark chamber where the name had first been spoken. The High Speaker demanded silence, but his 4 eyes darted nervously. Around him, delegates shouted, "Destroy Earth before it is too late. If we strike, we invite the end of us all." The humans never asked for this. Why punish them? They are dangerous by their nature. They must be erased. The debate lasted for days. Outside the chamber, ships stood ready. Soldiers waited for orders that never came, and across the galaxy, citizens watched and whispered. Finally, fear won. The council voted in secret. The decision was not announced, but the fleet moved quickly. 100 warships armed with weapons that had burned entire worlds before were sent to Earth's edge. Their orders were simple. If Earth showed resistance, burn it. If Earth did nothing, burn it anyway. The council believed this would restore order. They believed that fear could be silenced with fire. But they did not understand the nature of what they were facing. The fleet crossed into human space. As they drew closer, strange things began to happen. Sensors failed without cause. Weapons jammed. The crews dreamed of voices whispering in their ears. Some ships turned back, unable to go forward. The commanders shouted at them, threatened them, but fear was stronger than command. Still, many pressed on. They reached the orbit of Earth. The planet looked so small, so ordinary. Clouds floated over blue seas. Green land stretched across the surface. To the commanders, it seemed impossible that such a simple world could hold the power to shake the galaxy. So they fired. The first volley of weapons never reached the ground. The blasts froze in the air above Earth's atmosphere, held in place by nothing visible. The light of the weapons bent and twisted, then faded away. The commanders ordered more fire. Again, the weapons died in silence. Then the silence grew louder. Every ship felt it, a pressure in the air, in their bones, in their thoughts. The crews screamed as their own names slipped from their memories. For a moment, they were no longer themselves. The humans below looked up at the sky and saw the ships trembling, caught in something unseen, and then the ships began to break. Not by explosions, not by weapons, but as if invisible hands were pulling them apart. Metal twisted like paper. Engines crumbled. Screams filled the comms and then went silent. When it was over, nothing remained but fragments falling into Earth's seas. The council tried to deny the loss, but the truth could not be hidden. Survivors from ships that had fled carried the story. Earth had not fired once. Earth had only looked back. Fear turned to madness. Entire systems declared they would leave the council, unwilling to be tied to its failure. Merchants refused to travel near Earth's borders. Armies began to collapse, soldiers deserting before they could be sent. But the worst mistake was not the fleet itself. The worst mistake was that in trying to silence Earth, the council had awakened something deeper. On distant worlds, statues cracked open, revealing hollow spaces that glowed with light. On forgotten moons, buried machines powered on for the first time in ages. In the black void between galaxies, ancient shapes stirred faster, answering to Earth's name. The council had not destroyed a threat. They had called to it. Meanwhile, on Earth, people saw the falling fragments of alien ships in the sky. Some were afraid. Others felt pride. For the first time in history, the nations of Earth looked at each other not as rivals, but as one people. They knew the galaxy now saw them as something greater than human. In the council chamber, the High Speaker tried to calm the chaos. But his voice was thin, his authority gone. One delegate shouted at him, "You have doomed us all!" You thought Earth could be killed, but Earth is not just a world, it is a name, and the name is alive. No one denied it. They had all felt it. The council's mistake had not only destroyed a fleet, it had destroyed the illusion that they were in control. The galaxy now belonged to fear, and fear belonged to Earth. A trembling galaxy. The galaxy had always been vast, endless, full of power and pride. But after the fleet's destruction, something changed. For the first time, silence spread farther than light. Worlds that never agreed on anything agreed on one truth: Earth could not be touched. News of the fallen fleet echoed everywhere. In marketplaces, merchants dropped their goods and whispered the story. In military camps, soldiers sharpened their weapons only to throw them aside in despair. In the halls of leaders, arguments died into silence. No one wanted to speak too loudly, afraid the blue planet might hear. The galaxy trembled, not because of armies or weapons, but because of the weight of a name. On Earth, the fragments of alien ships burned across the sky. People looked up and saw fire trailing in the clouds. Some thought it was war, others thought it was victory, but all of them felt a strange strength inside, as if the stars themselves had turned their gaze upon humanity. Nations that once hated each other now spoke of unity. Old enemies shook hands. Flags were lowered, and for the first time, people began to imagine themselves not as divided tribes but as one species. They were not yet ready to declare it, but they felt it. Earth was becoming something greater. In the council chamber, the High Speaker no longer spoke with authority. His 4 eyes were clouded with fear. Delegates muttered but did not argue. They had learned the price of speaking too much. Some even refused to say the word Earth as if avoiding the sound would protect them. But the silence was heavier than words. Every delegate knew the truth. Their age was ending. The galaxy no longer belonged to them. On faraway worlds, temples were built in secret. Aliens who once mocked humans now bent their knees toward Earth, praying for safety. Some carved Earth's true name into their walls, though they did not dare to speak it aloud. Others destroyed their carvings in terror, hoping to erase all trace. The galaxy was dividing into 2 kinds of people, those who worshipped Earth and those who wished to hide from it. Meanwhile, strange signs spread wider. Stars flickered as though bowing in rhythm. Whole moons shifted in their orbits without warning. In the darkness beyond the rim of known space, ships reported shadows larger than planets moving where no light reached. These shadows were not empty. They were watching. The Council sent envoys to Earth hoping to beg for peace, but none returned. Their ships vanished before reaching orbit. Some said Earth destroyed them. Others said Earth never noticed them at all, and yet Earth remained silent. It did not send fleets into the stars. It did not demand surrender. It did not even speak. Humanity lived, worked, dreamed, and changed, but it never raised its hand. Still, the galaxy shook in fear. On a cold moon at the edge of space, an old historian spoke to his students. His voice was quiet, but every word carried weight. The galaxy trembles not because Earth fights, he said. It trembles because Earth exists. When the true name was spoken, the balance shifted. Earth does not need to strike. Its presence is enough. His students asked what would happen next. The historian lowered his head and answered, "The galaxy waits. It waits for the day Earth speaks its own name, and when that happens, there will be no council, no empires, no stars that can stand." Back on Earth, people felt that same waiting. Farmers stood longer in their fields staring at the soil. Soldiers looked at the sky with steady eyes. Children dreamed of galaxies bending before them. The awakening was no longer hidden. It was in every breath, every shadow, every dream. And in the far void, the ancient beings stirred closer. Their eyes opened wider. They moved, slow and patient, like hunters circling prey. But they were not circling Earth. They were circling everything else. The galaxy had feared war. But now it understood war was too small a word. Something greater had begun, and Earth was at the center of it. The Council's last meeting was filled with silence. No plans were made. No decisions reached. The delegates sat in fear, listening to the hum of the chamber, each afraid to speak. Finally, one whispered, "We are no longer the Council. We are no longer the rulers of the stars. We are only the first to bow." And bow they did, not with ceremony, not with pride, but with trembling hearts. Across the galaxy, in temples and homes, in fields and in ships, aliens lowered their heads. They bowed to Earth, the world that had never lifted a weapon. The galaxy trembled not because Earth had destroyed a fleet. It trembled not because humans demanded it. It trembled because Earth's true name had been spoken, and the name was alive. And the universe itself seemed to lean forward, waiting for the day Earth would speak that name on its own.